Good morning. It's a new week, and I welcome you to a brand new edition of your program, Summit. On this program, we'll keep you up to date on all sectors, happenings in all sectors of the economy. And on this program, you can be sure that all the information you get are authentic, and you can go to sleep on information you get on this program. I am Jumoke Michaels. Well, I'm all alone on the program today. Banji is a bit indisposed, and he will not be on the show today. But you can be sure that our discussion today will be of great benefit to you, because we'll be discussing an issue that's trending in our society right now. And then we'll be looking at it also from the background of the state of the polity, what this happening is going to do or not do to the polity. And it's the issue of the arrest of Sowore, who was the presidential candidate of Action Alliance during the 2019 election in Nigeria. But also in the polity, killings, kidnappings, and herdsmen attacks continues to happen across Nigeria. And over the weekend, we heard about the kidnap of 3 men who were on the way to the redemption camp here in Lagos. But thank God they've been released on Saturday evening, I guess. They've been released. So we thank God for that, because the police were on top of that game, and they were able to go into the forest and release these men. So we thank God for that. But, well, today is supposed to be the day for the Revolution Now protest, which was supposed to hold across Nigeria. But the convener of that protest, Omoyele Sowore, was arrested on Sunday, very early on Sunday morning. And but the protest was heard is built to still take place. But the news this morning is that across Nigeria, policemen have cordoned, like the National Stadium in Lagos, they have cordoned around the National Stadium, I guess in a bid to prevent the protest from taking place in Lagos. I don't know how it is in other states of Nigeria, but that's what we have here in Lagos. And that's what we'll be discussing this morning. The constitutionalism of that arrest, and if it's right or wrong, and then if it's that there are other issues that should be looked into that happening right now in Nigeria. We'll be discussing that on the program this morning, and I want to ask you, because we want to have your views on this issue, that you can send an SMS. Please, we prefer to have an SMS of your thought on this issue of Sowore's arrest and its effect on the polity. And then you can also be part of the conversation by following us on our social media platforms. You can send us an email. The address is AskSummitTV@gmail.com. On our Facebook handle, Summit TV NG, Summit TV NG Facebook. And then YouTube, you can like and subscribe on our program, Summit TV. And then on Instagram, you can follow us at Summit_current trends. Summit_current trends is where you can follow us on Instagram. And then the number you can send your SMS to is 0705-929-1146. 0705-929-1146. All right, the number is there on the screen, so you can be part of this discussion this morning. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll have our guest in the house with whom we'll go over this issue this morning. And he's a legal practitioner, so he's going to be able to tell us the legal implication and also the civic implication of this issue that's now trending. We'll be back after this break.
I just want your papers, please.
Sir.
Salary don't enter. Yes, so. And month I never even reach self. Na salary plenty, oh. No wonder I no gree collect roja from my hand. Shut up, sir. I'm here to bail my younger brother. If it happen.
With good laws,
proper funding, training,
and cooperation.
if it happen.
Welcome back. All right, joining us for the discussion this morning, we have Mr. Jide Ologun. He's an attorney at law, and he's also a public affairs analyst. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you this morning. Join us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now going to the issue straight on. Over the weekend, or last week, we started hearing that there was going to be a protest called #Revolution Now, and it was billed to hold today across Nigeria. And the call is for a better life, better governance, and an improved economy for Nigeria. Talking about off with the old, and let's have new things on the table in Nigeria that will give Nigerians a better life. But over the weekend, the convener of that protest was arrested. Now, what was your reaction to that drama that played out?
You know, it's multifaceted. To start with, when we talk about revolution now, it means there is a demand for a fundamental change, because revolution itself represents a fundamental change from an existing order to a new order. And brilliantly, you have rolled out some of the issues that are agitating the people. But let's look at the fact that revolution can be peaceful, it can be bloody, it can be violent. It depends on how it is carried out. But fundamentally, every society is undergoing constant revolution. We have the industrial revolution of those days that moved the economy from agrarian economy to industrial economy. We have political revolution that I'll be talking about, the American Revolution, as we progress. But let's domesticate what we have. From the 1900 till 1960, we have the Britons managing the Nigerian protectorate as a colonial structure. And a movement started by some Nigerians who said, no, we cannot continue under this colonial influence. We can manage ourselves, we can establish a new order. And they started activities towards that vision. And on October 1, 1960, Nigeria was given political independence by virtue of that revolutionary movement. In 1963, we became a republic. In 1966, another revolution came that introduced military intervention into the governance of Nigeria. So far, we have experimented with about 4 republics, with the one that started in 1999, that is still subsisting, being the 4th. And the question you should ask yourself is that, in the process of this dynamism, are we improving? Or is the value of governance depreciating? The other arm of revolution is what is called the information revolution. And even in Nigeria, you saw how the GSM regime transformed the NITEL regime. Because at the time in this country, if you must phone the UK, you will go to the NITEL office, settle them, collect tally number.
I can remember.
So revolution cannot be pushed away. The question is, do we have the dividends of good governance? Is this the best picture of a great nation like Nigeria? And the answer is no.
All right, you are
from notable people.
Yeah,
so
you are.
What can we do at this point?
Yeah, you are concentrating on the good definition of revolution, but you find out that let me say the government, the DSS, and some people in Nigeria are focusing on the other side, on the other part of definition for revolution, which is to upturn, to overthrow, to destabilize a sitting government. Yeah. Now, that's where the attention is going, because you are talking about other definitions of revolution.
There are some adages I respect a lot, and one says that to a carpenter whose only tool is a hammer, every problem appears like a nail. Issues, you see, Sowore just happens to be one of the bold Nigerians that can speak out. isolate him as an individual. He's comfortable.
Yeah.
He can live outside this country. He can close his eyes to the issues going on in this country. But many people know what is going on. They are afraid to speak out. And when you know, revolution now means a change must happen. So if I must advise the government, I will ask the paraphernalia of governance to come together and sit and do a thorough evaluation. In public relations, we talk about image concept. You have the wish image, which is how do I want to be seen? How do I want to be perceived? You have the mirror image, which is who do I see in that mirror when I stand there? What reflection is there? You have the real image. Who am I now? How am I perceived now? And we need that. How are we perceived? One of the issues this movement is emphasizing is the fact that why are we one of the poorest countries in the world? We should be asking that question. I am asking in my own revolutionary way that why should my great country not be able to treat my president? And we go and be paying millions of pounds to a colonial master that came to colonize us and we sent away. I'm asking questions. Why is it that in my country, state of emergency was declared in education in almost all the states? Why is it that the UK was warning the citizens not to visit 23 states out of 36 states in Nigeria because of kidnapping and banditry? Why is it that in Zamfara state that has gold deposit that can give that state $2 billion annually thrown into banditry? Why is it that we lost about 353 billion naira to illegal mining in that state? Why is it that even while the ministerial screening was going on recently, about 75 human beings were killed in a state, and it's as if we have lost our sense of shock? Why?
So many whys.
Why is there hunger in the land? The unemployment rate of this country stands at about 25%. You see, and the retarded employment, because you can have full employment, you can have, you know, the down is around 16%. Questions. Why is it that today my country is owing above 24 trillion naira? Why is it that in January about 100 billion naira was released from Sukuk Fund for roads? And yes, we have terrible roads across the country. I just came back from a trip. Why is it that we spend 2 billion naira on the Nigeria Air logo and launching, and we cancelled it? Why is it that we spent 11 trillion naira on fuel subsidy in 6 years? Why? Who will answer this question?
All right, now these are the whys. The reason why this revolution now was supposed to take place today in Nigeria, you know, starting a revolutionary movement. Now, do you think that is the choice of words that actually made DSS to say that Sowore's act and words is a treasonable offense? Is it the choice of word? Is it the issue of using that word revolution instead of tampering it down to just say, okay, we are going on a protest?
It is a function of interpretation. And some of us are waiting for DSS to point out the criminal elements in that word. I just told you, revolution emanated from the Latin word revolutio, which is to turn around. It's a turn around case. We had a political revolution in Nigeria in 2015.
Sorry, sir, just to butt in. Let me just say, I watched the video of where Sowore gave a press conference, and he actually said it is time to disrupt the system and take it down. I heard it.
Disrupting the system. You know,
Yeah.
Recently we were on a show like this in discussing the ministerial screening. And somebody said we need round holes, round pegs and round holes. And I brought in what one of my mentors in public relations rolled out, you know, YBO. That no, you can have square pegs and round holes. That is what GSM did to NITEL. NITEL was a round hole. GSM came and converted that round hole to you must disrupt the system. If the system is not disrupted, we will not be where we are today. Today, we are talking about Uber blood in Rwanda. What is Uber blood? Using drones to deliver medical facilities to the hinterlands. And that is saving lives, is cutting down on the time expected. In China and some other countries of the world, containers are moved by trains. There is a train that can move, about 150 containers with wagons. Disruptive things are going on around the world. If not for disruptive business revolution, we won't have Facebook, we won't have Google, we won't have the great men that are shaking the world. So revolution is a constant thing, but you are free to define it in your own context. I've said it. The DSS has a mandate as a government organ to prevent disruption of our peaceful coexistence and deliver us from internal threat to peace. Fine, that is their responsibility. You can be invited, but I expect that when they sit down, they should really look at the content. It's just like when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo recently said that there's an agenda to Fulanize Nigeria and Islamize West Africa. And some said they should keep quiet. But in the months that followed, we saw how the government started pushing the Ruga projects. You must ask questions. Somebody must speak out. All right? And again, now, let's talk about how statements are interpreted. Recently, one of the leaders of Miyetti Allah, when some of the southern states said, no, we are not prepared for your Ruga, threatened the federal government and the southern states and gave them 30 days ultimatum to accept Ruga or they will begin to implement their plans. What are those plans? Towards 2019 election, Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna State, who I respect so much, came out and threatened foreign observers that if they unduly intervene in our processes, they will go back in body bags. In year 2012, my amiable President Muhammadu Buhari, who was a presidential candidate then and lost in the 2011 election, threatened that if the 2015 election is rigged, it will soak their baboons and dogs in blood. What are we talking about? Is the Boko Haram not a revolution? Somebody came out in 2002 and said his group is against Western education. And see where we are today. Is the Dapchi kidnapping not a revolution? The headers who are killing farmers and disrupting the diversification project of the Nigerian economy, is that not revolution? And these are questions people are asking. The concept of the rule of law and good governance says there must be justice, there must be equity. I don't have a problem with law enforcement agents deploying what they should carry out their mandates. But let what applies to me apply to you. Let there be consistency. They have that man. If you look at the Constitution of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, it says that the government has the responsibility to abolish all corruption and abuse of power. In the same Constitution, if you look at Section 16, it says the government should provide affordable and adequate housing, affordable and adequate food, all care, living minimum wage, and for all citizens. These things are there. The Constitution says that the security and the welfare of the people is the primary purpose of government. Different kinds of provisions. So if a group is saying now that we are not seeing what positions us as a developing country, because we are classified against developed country, and that can we begin to have it, which means we have trusted the government apparatus to deliver on this. And the Constitution of Nigeria says that sovereignty belongs to the people. Now, if the 109 senators in the nation, in the House of Senate, 360 members of reps in the House of Representatives, the ministers, those who are there to drive the system, cannot deliver on these promises. Can we begin to express the fact that we need these things, we need a change? If change translated to next level, we are considering the future of this country. Have you seen evaluation reports coming out?
Yeah.
It has been projected that there is a forecast that by year 2015, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Nigeria will be leading the poor countries of the world if nothing is done. What is our population now? We're about 200 million. What will be our population in 2030? Where are we heading to? How much of the Sustainable Development Goals have we embarked upon? There are several issues in this country. Or is this level of insecurity what we deserve? So there are issues. And again, we need to see another issue that is on ground. The head of Shiite movement, El Zazaki, has been incarcerated. Now he's throwing up tantrums. You see, so must a regime be painted with crisis
All right.
colors.
Looking at it also from the angle of IMN, do you think that's one of the reasons why the government is being jittery, especially because like 2 or 3 of their peaceful protests, in quote, actually turned bloody? Do you think that's one of the reasons why the government is actually clamping down on this protest?
I appreciate the fact that the government is proactive by picking Sowore, whether he's invited or arrested, because he is the arrowhead for now.
Yeah.
But there is a movement. Malala, you remember Malala?
Yeah.
That lady that was shot by the Al-Qaeda and she survived. She said one thing, that you may seek to take out a terrorist by a gunshot, but that the best way to address the issue is education. What policies are we putting in place to change the narrative of Nigeria? We need to change. If Sowore is taken out of the system, there is a movement. I said it's just one of the bold who could speak out. Now we have sent Nnamdi Kanu out of Nigeria. Fine. It has given us palliative peace. But the agitations of the people from the southeastern part of the country who are still calling for reconciliation, for reintegration and the development of that region is still there. Those things are there. Because I'm wondering, there are some symptoms we see in a society and we express our concerns. I said it recently, the respected Obas in the southwest are going to Aso Villa. For people like us, it's a sign of governance failure. The king has no business going to beg for security anyway. In this country, we have at least 10 security apparatus. Go and check. Yes. About 10. Immigration, customs, Navy, Air Force, 10. We have ministries, we have resources released. So we should be living in peace. So when we begin to, when the husband is constantly in the kitchen to open the pot, serve his food and everything, something is going wrong in that home. All right. And some of us are pointing these things up. This country, we can dwell together in peace and unity. We have more than enough resources. So let's listen to what is going on. And again, I just want to tell, this does not portray the fact that we are in a serious crisis. This movement is starting. The government should dialogue, handle it with wisdom. I remember, and you should remember, ma, when the exchange rate collapsed in this country. It was around 190 naira in 2015, and it started escalating until it got to 520.
I bought at 500 naira.
And a concerned Nigeria disclosed some revelations, how there was an alleged crime between central bank officials and some hard currency sellers who will go and get a ridiculous price and bring to the market to sell. And they made a lot of money. DSS arrested him, but he was released. I mean, as we speak today, we don't know who the Oga at the top is that sent mobile policemen to go and barricade the National Assembly, desecrating the autonomy of the legislature. There are several things. As we speak now, we don't know where Shekau is. He has been killed several times.
Many times over.
I mean, so let's be sincere. I've said it, but when we decide to come together as a nation, we are quick to say our unity should not be discussed. But if you don't sort out the unity element, there cannot be prosperity. That is what Rwanda did.
All right, so let me just come in here. Now you are a legal person. You know the aspect of the constitution of the country. Now, what is the line between national security, breaching national security, and the rights of the citizen? Still using this case as a background. What is the line?
If you look at Chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, from Section 33 to around 42, the fundamental human rights are there. Freedom of expression, freedom of association, and all those. But your right should not be exercised in a way that it threatens the right of another person. And these are fundamental human rights that are not given to you by man. Right to life and all those. But within the confines of our laws, you can interpret what constitutes treason. So right now, I don't have any power to interfere with the assignment of DSS. When you arrest it enables you to interrogate and investigate. Because in the criminal justice system value chain, you have to investigate. You need a thorough investigation, diligent prosecution, and a committed judiciary. All right, so those processes are there. But the response of the people to how it is carried out is another issue. They must carry out their functions. I mean, before Babachi Lawal was sent out of office, we saw how people shouted and everything. Till now, we don't know. The snake that swallowed millions of dollars, even though the snake is not in court. Those who saw the snake, they are still in court. We have seen people steal billions of naira in Nigeria. They are taken to court the way they are prosecuted. So we need justice, we need equity, we need protection, we need prosperity as a people. And there are functions of the government. Fine, we say it's a business of everybody. But that is why we have those who are elected to go and represent us. We have surrendered the management of this country to a group of persons that must drive it prosperously. And if you're in the private sector and you set up a business and you don't evaluate, how do you, account for your returns on investment? And accountability, the government must be accountable to the people. I'm sad when I drive around Nigeria and I see forced labor. I see children of my children's age selling on the road in the rain. When I see poverty written on the faces of people, I have expressed myself here, I have not been able to recover from the fact that the giant of Africa doesn't have a medical facility to treat the president of that giant. These things are sad. They are sad. And some of us are asking questions. So the best we can get in this country now is to begin to have a new narrative. A new narrative, entirely new narrative. And the government should see this as a beautiful opportunity. I have asked some simple questions.
The government should see this as a good opportunity.
Beautiful opportunity. I've asked a simple question. Let's go into the imagination kingdom. Imagine that today there are 5 lanes of well-tarred roads around all the states in Nigeria. Coastal roads, everything. Imagine today that we have electricity all around Nigeria. Imagine today that 5 kilometers from your home, you have a maternity that we attend to the community like I enjoyed in the 60s when I was born. Imagine today that you produce in your farm and the government buys your products, bring it to the secondary level. Imagine today that we have modular refineries in all the states in Nigeria. Imagine today that we don't need to go and translate our cocoa to chocolate in Switzerland. Imagine today that the whole world is bringing their president to treat in Nigeria. Who will be going to? Which revolution are we asking for?
You have just succeeded at describing a beautiful Nigeria.
Governance has a purpose. And that is why you talk about vision and mission in life, even as an individual. Your vision is about your destination. Where are we going? I've said it. The UAE, United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Zayed started managing that region from around 1966. And today, it's a beautiful, from a desert to a paradise. In 2018, I think Dubai was the 4th most visited region in the world. Look at Rwanda. Rwanda also had ethnicity problems, genocide, and Kagame rose up and said, no, we must stop this. Look at South Africa. Even after 27 years in prison, Mandela came out and said, no, we have to unite and move forward. There are brilliant examples around the world. But if we don't make room for unity, for peace, for progress, you cannot rule out agitation. And revolution is a movement. It's not just about a person. The one who had a dream that the White House would be occupied by a black was not alive when Obama occupied that White House.
All right, let's just hold it there. All right, let's just hold it there. Well, there's still so much to say. And don't forget I said that if you want to be part of this conversation this morning, you can only send in an SMS to 0705 929 1146. That's the number. You can send an SMS only. We will not pick any call. So just send an SMS to that program, to that number, and we'll read out your contribution or your question as it is, and then we'll also treat it on the program. We'll go on a quick break now, and then when we come back, we'll be joined by someone else on the program. Stay with us.
I just want your papers, please.
Sir.
Salary don't enter. Eh? Yes, so. And Monday never even reach them. Na salary plenty, oh. No wonder I no gree collect Roger from my hand. Shut up, sir.
I'm here to bail my younger brother.
If it
happen.
happen.
With good laws,
Proper funding, training,
and cooperation.
if it happen.
Time issue.
All right, welcome back. It's still Summit. And right now we are being joined by Mr. Victor Okhai. He was the presidential candidate for Providence People's Congress in the 2019 election. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you for
Good
having
to have
me.
you join us, even
Always
though
a
we have
pleasure.
just a little time
No,
left.
it's okay.
All right, now you were a presidential candidate in the 2019 election
Yes.
alongside Omoyele Sowore.
Yes.
Now, would you do what he just did? Would you take that kind of step to make your voice heard, to cause a change in Nigeria? Talking about revolution, in quote.
Well, I guess it's a matter of style, and some have argued, if you like, semantics. I've heard the lawyers talk, and they've talked about mens rea and actors rea, which is what you say as being different from the action that you take. That if you say revolution, but have you acted before you can actually be charged, for instance, with treason, as the case is. But be that as it may, I guess what Sowore is trying to do is probably, if you take away the fact that I was a presidential candidate and all that, maybe just expressing the frustration of Nigerians generally. And I heard my friend here also mention the fact that there will be no need for that if things were perfect, because you only have a market, if I may use that language, where there's a need. You understand? If there is no need, there is no business, you know. And so you call for a revolution where you get people. So, but the question directly to me is, I guess, how would I have handled it? There is definitely room for opposition. There is room to criticize what government is doing. There is room to sensitize people and make them aware that things are not going the way they should, and that people should rise up and fight for their rights. There are so many reasons, so many things to fight for. For instance, I was engaged in a discussion on my way here, and I was saying that there is a Zaki case, for instance. Yes, he may be a dangerous person. And quite frankly, if a man is dangerous or a threat to the public, like Adoke was, the former Amalami was claiming as the reason why he disobeyed court orders and all that. My fear is the fact that if you do not follow due process through the courts, then an innocent man can just be labeled as a threat to society, and that will happen to him. The same thing with proscribing the organization, whether it is registered or not. If you can just, in one fell swoop, proscribe a religious organization because we think they're a threat, tomorrow, I may not like the face, I may be in government, but I'm not me, but someone may be in government, I may not like the face of somebody else. I may just use that excuse because there's a precedence. Now, what we're saying is that the rule of law must be obeyed. There is a reason why there is a judiciary, you know, which is the judiciary is to mediate in matters like this, to interpret our laws. It's not for the executive to begin to impose itself or determine how the law should be implemented or interpreting the law. It's for the judiciary. And I feel that that separation of the law of the powers should be respected. And so, Sowore, the language is hard, but that's vintage Sowore, you know, revolution. Now, we will stop. By this time, this will not be there and all that. If you have followed him, you will know his style. But there's another thing again. if I were in government, how would I have handled this? If you think, what is wrong with the government even providing security today? So, okay, look, because protests, I mean, you are not supposed, the law does not stop you from protesting. Provide policemen there to ensure that this thing is not hijacked and that it is peaceful. Let the people have their say. People go to the White House to protest. People go to 10 Downing Street to protest. You know, it is his right to protest. The word revolution, yes, like I said, but like they said, there's no actors. I'm forgetting my language now. Actors reus, you know. So he has not done an act of yes, of the actual act of treason. When you get him, then you have him in the hand. And then you can lock him out. Everybody has seen. Yeah. You know, so that's my take.
All right, now let me just read out some of the agitations for this revolution. I won't take it all. I just summed it up. It says, number one, end anti-people economic policies, talking about fuel prices, power, repair of refineries, and things like that. Yeah. And then number two, he said, end special privileges for the ruling class, talking about making the National Assembly part-time and things like that. And then number three, return political power and national wealth to the working people. And then, funny enough, I had one of the coalition for what is the full meaning? Sorry, CNG, called on all Northerners to categorically dissociate itself from the organization, promotion, and participation in any conduct capable of worsening the already situation of security in Nigeria. Now, to me, that's worrisome, because that means somehow we are trying to bring ethnicity into this issue of protest. Now, I want both of you to actually react to this line to which this issue is trending towards. It's worrisome. I don't think there should be anything about ethnicity in this.
It's a reality in Nigeria. We bring it to the fore for convenience. I mean, if you go into deep content analysis, we even have about 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria, but encapsulated in three. Formally, talking about the Hausas, the Igbos, and the Yorubas. But right now, there is the introduction of the Fulani. That is even a threat to the existing, recognized. You must be concerned about all this. Why is it that we have not ethnicized GSM? The services are there, you keen to it, you enjoy it. And that's why we are saying all these are coming up because of governance gap. If the facilities are everywhere, who wants to mention ethnicity? So whether some are dissociating or not, it's not my concern. My concern is a simple question. Is this the Nigeria the so-called heroes dreamt about? When our leaders travel to Canada, to Australia, to the UAE, to the UK for treatment or whatever, is this what they see there? All societies have their problems, but ours is terrifying. You just mentioned something brilliantly, sir. I was in front of the White House in Washington to express my desire that my country will enjoy the benefits of true democracy. Nobody harassed us. No. Some citizens were there playing Bob Marley's song, and you see few policemen who are just there. You express yourself. Somebody said, when the people are afraid of the government, it's bad governance. When the government is afraid of the people, it's good government. The government should be accountable to the people.
Yeah, agree.
And that's where we seem to have missed it.
The power the government exercises is derived from the people.
Yes.
And that must be respected. And let me tell you, life is more comfortable when things are working. You see, when you are in a flight from here to New York, about 13 hours, and you are being served your food, you can sleep, watch your video and everything. Do you bother yourself? But when you begin to run into storms, you may be asking where's the pilot, and things are true. There are crises in this country now. And I'm not pretending about it.
No.
By the grace of God, it's not as if I am directly impacted by it. We are blessed, and it is painful. It's painful what the farmers are going through, agitation, apprehension. In fact, the way we are classified. At a time, why don't we go and arrest Donald Trump for even describing a whole continent as a whole or something? It's how you are saying that you are dressed.
All right.
We deserve a greater relationship in this country. But my position is that I suspect we have not established our points of unity. So we are not a united people. And
all right,
the
let me
moment
just
we solve that problem, we'll be amazed at the speed of development in this country.
Unity. All right, let me just take some of the text messages we have here. Emmanuel is saying that Buhari himself called for mass action severally. He commended the one that took place in Egypt and welcomed the Sudanese coup plotters who removed their incompetent leader. So why should the same not be applicable now? Nigerians are fed up. Okay, let's leave that. Another message from Taiwo from United Estate at Alagbole, Ogun State. He's saying, he's commending you. This man is just too much. Please, is the government seeing this program? Yes, the government is seeing this program because they have people who always watch. Now we have another one from TJ in Lagos. He's saying that Sowore has done no wrong. He should be released by the DSS. Please ask the federal government when Lagos-Badagry Express Road will be tarred. Now that's one of the agitations for the revolution now, having a better life. Now we have another one. He did not put his name or where he's sending the message from. He said, truly, there is need to take this country back to regional system. Now with all the happenings, Mr. Victor Okhai, is our democracy being threatened? If you want to shut us up, because it's a government of the people, I like what he said now that the government should rather fear the people than the people fearing the government. So is our democracy being threatened now?
Okay, before I say so, with great respect to my friend here, I'd like to say that the three major tribes are only one of 250. Yeah. The others are not insignificant, and the Fulanis are not just being introduced. They are there like the Afemais, like the Biroms, like the Injukuns and the rest. Yeah. So because it's important that every single group be recognized and acknowledged. We're all Nigerians. Now, to come back to the question, democracy is threatened when rule of law is thrown in abeyance or is thrown whatever. How did law come about? In the past, we were savages as human beings, living in a state of anomy, where anything goes. And then people decided on their own to agree on a set of codes to govern society. You understand what I'm saying? And to be subject to those codes and to those rules. You understand? So if we say this person will stand in, these are the rules, and if anything happens, we go to this person, whatever he says is final. If we agree, then there is, because we have agreed, then there is order in society. When you take that out, what is happening in Libya right now is what you will see, where anything goes. And so truly there's a threat to democracy where a government no longer respects the rule of law, as is happening right now, where a Minister of Justice who is supposed to, protect the temple of justice, decides to pick and choose what laws to obey and which ones not to obey, because discretionally he feels this person is a threat, and he is even arguing a decided case. But I look at it as turning it upside down, because we have seen cases where they conveniently, ignore. They just quote as it suits them. What should happen is blanket. Why is justice blind? You don't look at, the Lady Justice is blind because there's no discrimination. You understand what I'm saying? But what we see here are people who pick and choose what to obey. And when you do that, then you create opportunity, or let me use my original language, a market for a revolution.
All right, which is what we're trying to have now. All right, sir, your final word in just 3 seconds.
Is it possible?
Nigeria is a glorious nation. And blessed is that regime that allows that glory to shine.
Thank you. All right, sir. Your final word too.
This is unfair. Yeah. He has put it so perfectly. But I'll say this. Let me just end. I think that as a people, now the meaning comes to me when I say we deserve the kind of government we have. If we tolerate bad government, then we deserve it.
All right, so it's left to us.
Yes.
Left to us.
It's left to us.
All right.
We can decide what we want.
All right. All right, let me just read this last message from, he didn't put, Wale from Alagbado, saying that the politicians are the greatest enemy of this country. I've never seen any politicians that put up his or her thinking cap. Oh, all right. Now that's his opinion. All right, thank you, sir, for joining me on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, and for all your apt contribution to the topic in discussion. And thank you for all those who participated in the program. We'll see you again on Wednesday for another very interesting edition of Summit. I am Jumoke Michaels. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.